Hey kids, happy Monday. Here's a new lesson for journaling, and I'm skipping ahead in our prompts. So if you're following along on the prompts list, I'm going to skip ahead to the one that says create a silly, silly something with stripes. So I love stripes. I've always loved stripes. I love black and white stripes. I love red and white stripes. I love rainbow colored stripes. I love stripes in any shape and size. They just make me happy. And I also love things that are silly. Can you think of a couple of things just off the top of your head that are silly? Well, I have a cat and his name is Yoda. We actually call him Yoda Man. He's an orange tabby cat. I love cats, and sometimes cats can be silly because they can sit in funny ways, they can give you a funny look, they can look at you like you don't know what you're talking about. Cats can be silly. They can also be very astute. So I think I'm going to choose the subject of cats to make my silly, silly something with stripes. But you can create anything you want that's silly. What about a hippopotamus that has a best friend of a butterfly? What about a hippopotamus that's polka dots and his nose is striped? What about a pelican with striped feet? What about a house that's made out of just stripes? You can use your imagination to create anything you want to do and just draw some stripes on it and then color it in. The more you tap into your imagination and what you think is silly, and then the way you want to add stripes, the more fun it's going to be. So go ahead and get out your crayons, get out your markers and your paper. If you have watercolors, you can do that too. I'm going to be working in watercolors today. And I'm going to draw a silly, silly cat with stripes. And you can follow along. Get my camera all situated. There we go. Okay, so I've got my paper here. This is a pencil. It's a water-soluble pencil, and what that means is when I add water, it will activate. These are some watercolors, but I also have crayons if I want to use crayons, and I have markers if I want to use markers, and I've got my paper. So a cat, if you think about the shape of a cat, well, his head is kind of round, right? And I'm going to press very lightly. I know it's hard for you to see, and I'm going to go over that a little bit. Round, round. But his mouth is kind of a little bit triangular down here. And then his cheek goes up this way. Now, if you think about the shape of a cat's ears, they're kind of triangles, right? Kind of triangles. And then a cat's eyes tend to be kind of oval. So if I think about drawing the eye, I'm going to go up and over, and then I'm going to reverse it. Up and over, kind of like that. Up and over, up and over. And then I want to do the reverse just to connect the eyes. And then the pupil in the cat is kind of this rounded diamond shape. Human pupils are perfectly round. Cats are a little bit different. And then the nose is wide, right? The nose is wide, and it comes down in a U. And there's two upside down U's. That would be where the nostrils are. And then there's this little point right here that kind of makes up the base of the nose. This rounds out, this rounds out. And then right below the base of this nose is where the mouth would be. So there's a little line. It's like an upside down Y. That would be the mouth of the cat. Now, if you look at a cat, the mouth is kind of pudgy out front, right? And then there's whiskers. Now notice I haven't drawn stripes yet. I'm just getting my cat shape down because I'm going to make my cat really silly. I think he needs some eyebrows. I think he needs some eyebrows, right? Some eyebrows. And his neck. So his neck's going to be a little bit wide. But now I'm going to be kind of silly because I'm going to make him I think I'm going to turn him into like a human. So it's going to be a cat-human or a cat-human. So I think I'm going to turn this cat into a girl. And she's got her pearl necklace on. And I'm going to give her some shoulders. And that's where the shoulders would go. And then I'm going to bring her arms down here. Oh my goodness. And I think she likes pearls so much, she's going to have a lot of them. And maybe she's going to have this brooch. Because she's going to a party. You can use your imagination and you can create your cat any way you want, or whatever animal or whatever object you decide is silly. But I still haven't added the stripes yet. I'm still thinking about creative ways that I could do that. But before I add the stripes, I think I want to give the cat a hat. So I'm going to think about, okay, I want this ear to stick out and I want this ear to stick out. But I think this one's going to wear a crown. I like to draw crowns a lot. And I'm just making this up as I go. You can do the same thing. And I think there's going to be some flowers. I want it to be kind of silly. Because the cat's face doesn't look very silly, but I think his hats and his clothes, I think that they look really silly. And now I think I'm ready to add the stripes. So I think I'm going to do stripes on the arms, just like that. And I'm going to reverse the direction, just like that. And maybe I think I'm going to come down with longer stripes here. Maybe a curve there. Those would be vertical stripes. So far, I think I'm loving the cat. I'm going to add some more juicy tidbits to the crown. And all of these juicy tidbits are just silly things that I want to add. Maybe a big flower, like maybe the crown is made up of a bunch of flowers. I think that's pretty silly. And I think that the expression on this cat's face looks kind of shocked. Like, oh my gosh, what is on my head? Well, the last thing I want to do before I start painting is make the cat look like he's kind of hairy. So I'm going to make like little bitty hair-like lines. Because cats, they're hairy, right? So I'm just going to make short little dashes that are going to kind of be hair-like. And I can make as many of these as I want or as few of these as I want. Sometimes cats' ears have longer whiskers too. And now I'm ready to paint. So I'm going to get my brush. I want to make sure I hydrate my colors. That just means you want to get them nice and juicy and wet. Or if you're using markers, you can start coloring it in. And now I'm going to start applying the color. I think it's going to have crazy rainbow colors. Now you can see there's a lot of lines in that flower. You can paint a flower any color you want, and you can use different colors. Once you add the red, if you want to come back in and you want to add some pink, you can go back and you can float that in. How about pink? I love the color pink because pink is the color of hope, at least for me. How about some yellow? That's a silly hat. I think we're going to pick up some blue for the tiara or the crown. How about that? The more I paint this crown, the more I want one of these hats, right? Now I got to think about what color do I want my cat to be. Maybe purple. How about a purple cat, right? Ears. Little dashes. How about a purple and blue cat? That's pretty silly. Oh my goodness. You can color your picture any color you want. I do want that little spot right there below the nose. I want that to be pink. And maybe this cat's got pink lips. And maybe he's pink too. So far, this is a really silly looking cat. Now I want to go back in with a dark color. And I want to paint my pupil a dark color to add some contrast. And then I'm going to add, ooh, some fancy eyes. Look at that silly cat. Darken that little spot in there. And now I'm ready for the stripes. I'm going to add a little bit of purple there, a little bit of purple there, and just pull some of this purple in because I want my cat to be a little bit more purple. Just a little bit. Okay, time for stripes. I like orange a lot, so I'm going to do 2 stripes that are orange. I like an orange yellow, almost like a cat. Ooh, that's nice. And then maybe a pink color for the collar. Stripes, stripes. This is a crazy looking cat. How silly. Now I'm going to get a smaller brush because some of these shapes are a little bit smaller. And I think I'm going to use green for the pearls. Every other one can be green. and maybe a different color green. Huh. Let's add a couple of dots up here for the leaves. Just a few juicy tidbits. And this is so silly. Now when this dries, I can go back and I can add any details that I want. I could even paint this background, so this is called negative space, a dark color. So if I want to come in here and add a dark color to the background, I can do that. And what's going to happen is, because it's dark, it's going to create what we call contrast, and it's going to make it show up a little bit better. Now I'm adding a lot of water, and I'm going to pull that up. Oh, I kind of love it. Dark at the bottom. Pull it around. Go in between the whiskers. And then more water. It's okay if you get some colors where you didn't really want them to be. It's totally fine. Look at that crazy cat. Now after this dries, I'm probably going to go back and maybe outline if I want to a little bit. Maybe accentuate some of the details. But I don't have to. Maybe I'll go back in and add some polka dots. But right now, it's definitely a silly, silly cat with stripes. So if you decide to paint a silly, silly something with stripes, I hope that you'll send me a message and share it with me, because I cannot wait to see it.